Mark, M-A-R-K.
Wait, it didn't come yet.
Okay.
Mark.
M-A-R-K.
I have to get that means,
I'll write it down. This is a constant occurrence, and
Yeah.
there's no social network
yeah,
in this dirty state, and I do call it
Yeah.
dirty state deliberately.
yeah,
They just simply let people die on the street.
yeah. Let's walk to the front. Walk to the front with me.
For what?
I'll just pick you up some stuff because you're gonna leave tomorrow. I'll pay for it. Come on.
Oh no, it's okay.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I got open the refrigerator. I got some food.
If not, I'll pick you up. Oh, you don't want some stuff from outside, from the deli, from the store there?
Oh, the little.
Yeah.
They got candy mainly. I'm okay.
You sure?
Yeah.
No water or anything?
No, I'm okay. I got coffee and I'm okay.
You sure?
Yeah, the only thing that worries me tomorrow and for the rest
Is
of
where
my
you're gonna go.
is where I'm gonna go and the bathroom. At 70 years old, you got to use a bathroom. This city is so dirty. They closed almost all the public bathrooms from the stores, and the only one that has an open bathroom to the people on the street is Fred Meyer's,
Wow.
and they might close that too.
So when you're on the street, do you worry about, where you're gonna take a shower, what you're gonna do?
I do. Worst comes to worst, you need $5.
Anywhere, you're not gonna be anything. I'm just doing it. So you said how old you are?
I was born in 1952. That makes me 69 and about 6 to 8 months away from 70.
Yeah. So you was born in Alaska.
No, I was born in Wrocław, Poland, which is Lower Silesia.
Wow, nice. And when did you move over here?
When I was a teenager, about 13 years old.
About 13 years old. Your whole parents came over here.
Yeah, my mom didn't want I wanted to see John F. Kennedy, my mentor and hero.
Wow.
Yeah, but it didn't work out. In 1960, my mother refused immigration, and the next immigration came along. She didn't have any family over there, and the next family was in Cleveland, Ohio, my Aunt Rachel and Uncle Felix. So we decided America, and that was in 1964, 65.
Oh, cool. So since you came to America, you've been living in Alaska, right?
No, we lived in Cleveland most of my life, and
So what made you move to Alaska?
my ex-wife. My ex-wife was part of Indian Health and Native Indian Health. She was a registered nurse. We lived in Orwell, Ohio, a little village called about 3,000 people in it. And
That's a little village, though.
yeah, in those days, it's huge now. It's got hotels.
I was blown away when I heard 50 people. So I took the train to Fairbanks, and I was totally blown away. Heard like 50 people. Have you ever taken the train to Fairbanks and those little cabins? And
No, I've been in Fairbanks 2 times, but
you drove? You drove to Fairbanks, or?
Yeah, I drove.
Wow,
And
so
my
cool.
son went to college there, and Linda and I wanted to make sure his dormitory was well equipped, so we paid. The college is on a side road, but there's a Fred Meyer's hidden behind the buildings. You can't see it, but we found it, and we went to Fred Meyer's and bought a whole bunch of stuff. The Fairbanks University had on a list. They give.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So how long you been living here?
Since winter of 1991, about 30 years.
Yeah.
Give
So
or take.
tell me something about like the food and all that stuff. Like what do they eat
Where
over here?
food is like anywhere else. It's in a supermarket. You just buy whatever
No,
you want.
but I know there's a lot of salmon.
Oh, I'm not crazy about salmon. My wife was. I'm a trout man and a halibut man.
So you eat a lot of trout and a lot of halibut.
Yeah, I prefer trout more than halibut, but I like halibut a lot. It's good tasting fish.
Yeah. And like, what do you eat it with? Like,
It's usually at a restaurant, and when I was married, my wife would cook it, so it'd be mostly with potatoes.
Did you get my sheets I needed?
oh, that's
It would be mostly with potatoes and the other fixing on a side dish, but halibut is probably the best tasting there is.
yeah.
Then after halibut, I prefer trout, but my father-in-law prefer trout, but others don't. They don't like it.
So what do you do for a living? How do you work? Or used to work? Or?
Yeah, I used to work. I worked quite a bit. In Ohio, I was a watching clock repairman, and
Pretty cool.
yeah, I really started as industrial electrician, and I helped out my friends and all that. And then there's a test. It's not easy to get into what they call industrial electrician.
Yeah.
And
They're making a lot of noise.
you want to
It's okay.
pause?
No, it's okay.
Okay, so
I'll probably close the door. Go ahead. Because it's too noisy.
okay.
I thought with some fresh air, but they're making a lot of noise there. Okay. Yeah, so you would eat trout with.
My father-in-law, or my ex-wife's father, was a trout man, and I like trout.
Did you guys actually catch it on the lakes and stuff like that?
My father-in-law was kind of well-to-do, and not anymore. He passed on. I have his photo and all. He's from Windsor, Ohio. Windsor is named after, obviously, England and Windsor.
Yeah.
And it's a crossroad. It's 322, which is Mayfield Road in Cleveland, but it's 322 on the outskirts. And their route, I can't remember, but our route was 322 and 45 crossroads. That's Orwell. The town before that, about 6 miles, was Windsor, Ohio. That's where they were from. We had ups and downs in the family. We had difficulties. My sister.
Everybody have those things.
Yeah.
You know that, right? Me
Yeah.
too.
My sister had difficulties because my father-in-law invited her for what they call fish fry at the firehouse, and I guess that was false pretense, and my sister got upset at me and never kind of got together with me again. That was the last time I got together with my sister. Thanks to my father-in-law, I lost relationship with my sister, but that's okay. It happens.
That's okay. It happens.
Yeah.
So now, what made you move to Alaska?
Oh,
Because of her. Yeah, you were telling me.
yeah, we had a house in Orwell, Ohio. You know, I love my wife and kids, and I truly do.
Right.
And I didn't want to lose them. Linda was known, you don't know her, but Linda was known for ultimatums. One of the ultimatums that she gave me before we left Orwell, Ohio for Phoenix, Arizona, was that if you want to see the kids again and if you want to see me, come with us. If you don't want to see kids or don't want to see me,
Stay.
then go back to Cleveland, get an apartment, get a job, fix it all up, and we'll go live with you over there. And that was the last ultimatum that I got, and that was in the 80s, early part of 80s, very, very early, maybe 1980s even, maybe 1979. And after we arrived in Phoenix, we traveled Route 10 with an automobile. I had a classic Ford Ltd that I sunk about $3,500 into, maybe even more, making it really drivable. It's a cream puff, and it was an antique car. It was already
In those days, yeah.
11, 12 years old, and I drove it to on Route 10, Interstate 10 from Ohio, all the way to St. Carlos Apache Reservation in St. Carlos, Arizona. And St. Carlos Apache Reservation is run by Indian Health, and that was her new job. And that's all there's to it. That's how we ended up in Arizona.
So let me ask you. So if I have to ask you, what advice would you give somebody younger if they want to live to see past their 70, or what do you think is some of the most important things to live a long, healthy life?
I don't know. My mom lived a long and healthy life.
How old was she when she died?
She died way in the 80s, I believe, but my dad was not that successful. My dad passed on at 62, very young.
Yeah. You outlived your father already, I mean.
Yeah, I did, but my father, on the other hand, my father had a hell of a life, so
Yeah.
You know,
Things were hard then.
yeah,
Right?
things were very difficult for my father.
So what would you say like a typical breakfast would be? I don't know, when you was like 18 years old or something, living with your parents.
What was at
A
18?
typical
Meal.
yeah.
I didn't like my mom's cooking too much. I loved her soup, and I hardly ever ate her dinner. Living with them, I like sandwiches. I always like sandwiches.
Yeah. What kind of sandwich?
Any kind, really. I don't eat ham all that much, but when that's all there is, I eat it. Yeah, and I like the sandwiches. I would say was majority of my meals, and when I was young.
Make with what?
Made with cheese and mayonnaise and various meats. Bologna was mortadella or bologna, Italian mortadella was probably my favorite.
Yeah.
But I like bologna the same.
Okay. Do you drink?
I never drank. That might be the biggest thing. My dad died young, but he was a drinker.
Okay.
And when I was young, he was a violent drinker. And
so that's probably
yeah. Later on, he was also a heavy smoker, and I was a heavy smoker. I was a heavy smoker, and
you gave it up.
Well, when I lost my wife and kids, I gave it up in 1997, cold turkey in one day, from 3 packs a day, and never touched a cigarette again. So it was a big trauma, despite of what these haters in this local town, local yokos made up. I love my wife and kids. So obviously.
How long you guys live in Alaska?
Together?
Yeah.
We divorced in 1998. I was arrested in 1997.
Right.
And I spent 440 days in pretrial, and she never visited. Never wrote a card, never wrote...
The kids? Did the kids come to visit you?
Nope. And...
How many kids you have?
I had 3. I had a son and 2 daughters.
The daughters didn't come to visit you?
And, it hurt a lot, and I had bad time, but I survived it.
Yeah,
I'm a strong character.
Yeah, you're doing good.
Yeah.
That's it. And I like that you say you're a strong character, which is really good,
Yeah. It was difficult. It's hard to describe it. It was very, very difficult.
So do you, so what kind of job you do growing up? Like, odds and ends here and there?
No, not really. I was electronics man, and I started working for a factory called Penske, which is Sears and Roebuck. They make tuning equipment for automobiles and electronics and for timing and all that. And I realized there's no money. You can't have a wife and children in electronics.
Yeah.
But I realized that there was a lot of money in electrical, and electricians make a lot of money. So my buddy Corby Sable was electronics man, and so was Mickey Majorsic. And they went to Kent State for electronics, and they're real smart. Corby Sable became a doctorate in electronics. He's very intelligent. Mike Majorsic went the other way, and so did I. But I went, I asked my best friend Corby at the time, Corby Sable, to train me on electrical. I was familiar with, for example, a capacitor, symbol for capacitor, is similar to a joint, a screwed or bolt joint in electrical, and it's not a capacitor at all. I had a hell of a time. So my buddy Corby Sable trained me on the differences between electronics and electrical. DMAG Material Handling Corporation, a West Germany corporation that made overhead girders and cranes. You can't just get a job over there. You got to go get a test, take a test.
Yeah.
And the electronic test is written and practical. And so I went for written, and that was like, whoa. That was like maybe 10 schematics and maybe 4 or 5 pages worth of written. And then I went for practical, and that was the factory was The girders are enormous. They're giant. They're made for Ford Motor Company, automobile factories, and things like that. So the girders were downstairs with mechanics and welders, and there's a giant platform up in halfway up the ceiling on a factory, and that was electronics and electrical. So the head of the electrical was African American guy, and he said, "Here's a panel, go to it." They judge you
from doing the work, yeah.
They judge you on what they call feathering, which is, instead of running a straight wire to the next joint, making it pretty and feathered, so it all matches.
Nice.
If you couldn't do that, you were fired immediately.
Yeah. But you got a job in it.
I got
you
a
did
job. Yeah, I got a job.
The nice thing about this interview is that as you talk, you could recall the information. And when I'm leaving gone, it's nice that you could, this helps you. It helps you to prolong your life. So it's good to do these kind of interviews. So don't be embarrassed if somebody asks you, because you should be proud, I
am proud of DMAG.
Yeah.
I got hurt on a job, and it was legit, not fake, to get benefits. And it was their company doctor, not my company doctor, not my doctor. It was their company doctor that signed me out for 1 year, and then signed me out again. I hurt my back and shoulder. I ripped my shoulder and back. I was pulling. Are you familiar with number 2 wire?
Yeah. I have a little idea of electronics. Not a much, but.
Well, number 2 wire is about almost 3/4 of an inch in diameter, and there's 4 of them. It's a flat cable. There's 4 of them. So about 20 feet of that wire will weigh about 300-400 pounds. So I was pulling a job. These are on a spools, on a rack and on a spools, and I was pulling for. You get schematics, and each schematic tells you what you need. And I was pulling a job, and a man from downstairs, one of the mechanics or welders, came upstairs to the electronics platform, and the cable is jet black, and so is the floor, the metal floor. I was already about 30 or 40 or 50 feet on my back, and the man stepped on a cable and jerked everything backwards.
So you got hurt.
Yeah, bad. I ripped my back. I ripped my shoulder.
That's
the Teamsters Union estimated something like 11,000 work pounds or some outrageous,
and look at you survived and you're here today, right?
Yeah, they did surgery on my shoulder. I had 2 surgeries, but I survived the back. The back is still difficult, but it's for real.
How many brothers and sisters you have? How many brothers and sisters?
I have 1 sister in Ohio. As far as I know, she's alive. I lost all contact.
You lost all contact. And mom and dad passed away a long time.
Not really long time, but they're with me every minute of the day. So
you think back and think about them.
I love them to pieces, and
so how long?
Forgave my dad. My dad was when I was young. My dad was mean and drink, but I forgave my dad in my heart and in my soul.
That's good. How long you been living by yourself?
Since 1997, I would say. 27 years, coming up on 27, 28 years.
Yeah. So how did you get yourself in this position?
Linda had a lot of pull and a lot of influence. Linda Kahn was my ex-wife.
Right.
She took away everything I ever had. I had a condominium at 5733 Jennifer Circle. It's on Tudor Road across the street from state troopers.
Right.
And they took that condo in 1997 in Coquille Pretrial Facility. 2 cops showed up, snappy, young, but dirty and crooked. And they served me with the papers.
And tell you to leave.
Well, in America, are you Indian or?
No, I'm from Trinidad. But
Trinidad.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's fine.
I live in America.
I love every country. I'm not a bigot. Anyways, what happened was in 1997, they served me with the papers. In America, as you know, we have the right to face our accusers.
Yeah.
But they knew that, so they force transferred me against my will to Florence, Arizona, which was under auspices of Alaska DOC, and those orders stand. And how they did it was not with beatings. Others got beatings, but in my case, I got messed around a little bit, hurt physically a little bit. But in my case, I met a sergeant from House 1, Spring Creek Correctional Center, and another lady that I know her by face, but I can't place her. I don't know if she's a PO or I don't know who she is. Anyways, they were there in office, and in Alaska and other places, they got what they call max. That means that you get classified every year. And the sergeant was being cocky, pardon the word, and was being obnoxious, and said, "Hey man, I'll see you next year. You know, you're gonna be here in House 1." He goes, "I don't want to talk to you during that 1 year. I'll see you next classification." And that's exactly what happened. And I left the office, and then when I got down about maybe 50 feet on a hallway, I said, "Hey man, I don't want to live in a House 1 for one complete year on max." So I signed a paper, and they transferred me to Florence, Arizona.
And then you came back to here, Alaska.
Well, it's your mandatory. I try to stay in Arizona. I'm from Arizona. I'm from Phoenix, and then we lived there 6 years, and we lived at St. Carlos Apache Reservation for 1 year. So I wanted to stay there, but my case manager, a tall, skinny man, an officer, and somebody else, which I can't remember anymore after all this time, they came up to my cell and they said, "Hey man, you can try to stay here, but we'll pack you up, we'll hogtie you and ship you back to Alaska." Alaska has law that very few people know about it. If your crime is, let's say, in Anchorage, Alaska, you will be returned to Anchorage, Alaska, no matter what.
Oh, that's what happened to you. So you came back.
And I didn't come back. They forced you to come back. I wanted to stay in Florence, and you can ask for references. You can ask internal probation officer Getty. It's a female, and I tried everybody to stay because that's where I'm from, but they wouldn't allow it. They try to beat me back to Alaska.
Wow. So the most important part that I'm interested in is that your health, your food, what you eating. I mean, like those are the things. So you just live on a day-to-day basis from restaurant, you order food and...
No, I go to grocery stores, but I like salads a lot. Every which way but loose.
Oh, nice. You like salad.
Love
so
salad.
That's probably one of the things that's keeping you so healthy.
Yeah. It's
salad. Vegetables, a lot of vegetables also.
I love vegetables. I love sesame seed on it, or just sesame seed. They stop. I don't know if you're familiar with halva. Are you familiar
What
with
is that? Tell me more.
It's a sesame seed pancake.
I know sesame seed though, because I'm from the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And we used to grow them and beat them out and have them. So I know sesame seed.
So I love sesame seed, and to me it's to pieces all my life.
Yeah.
And they used to, Cars and Fred Meyer's up in Muldoon and other places, they used to sell a little bar of sesame seeds that are in oil, but they're made into like a candy bar, and it's called
I know it. They still have them selling.
They got rid of that about 2 or 3 years ago in Alaska, and it's very difficult to find.
I know. So you like sesame seed, a lot of salads, vegetables. What's your favorite
sandwich? I love tomatoes to pieces. I love lots of tomatoes. I had tomatoes all my life.
Lettuce, tomatoes, cucumber.
Yeah, I love cucumbers. I love almost my youngest daughter, which is now 37 or some years old. My youngest daughter loves chef salad. That's her favorite, and I'm partial to that too.
Yeah, and what kind of meat? Fish, halibut, and
I love not that halibut is outrageously expensive. Even in Alaska, they fish it here. Even in Alaska, it's very expensive. I rather have trout and it's cheap.
Yeah.
And you can, if you want, you can go fish it in a lake. It's not that far.
So
you take the freeway and you're at the lake.
Have you ever gone fishing?
I tried, but I haven't. But father-in-law,
He did.
father-in-law was very wealthy man. Father-in-law had his own little lake.
Oh, so he
and-
could grow his fish and fish.
Well, the county said he wanted trout, and every time they got trout, a stock that they put in, the bluegill would kill it off, and he used to get so mad. He let Mel Detweiler, an Amish man, his name is Mel Detweiler. He let him fish out bluegill or yellow gill or whatever they're called by buckets worth, and he would just fish fry them and chomp on them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's a strong man. He's a carpenter by trade. He raised barns, and even by himself if he has to. He had a very tall horse. The old horse died, but they were across the street from my father's-in-law farm, and I used to go pet the horse and all that. That's how I know all that.
That's good. And what do you drink? Mostly water, juice, tea?
Juice, tea, coffee, and I'll drink water if I have to. I don't like water all that much. But
What about
bottled water is
you
good.
drink? Yeah. And what about exercise?
Just walking, and I don't exercise all that much. I never did, and now I'm having difficulty because of it.
Yeah, so you do a lot of walking only.
Well, in Cleveland, when I was a young kid, I loved architecture, Mises to pieces. Everybody's architecture. It didn't matter if it was on Musk or a temple or a church, a cathedral. I used to visit cathedral on Fairmount Road, below Lee Road. It was designed like the big
Notre Dame in England.
It was that kind of design. Of course, it wasn't. It was a mini. But I used to go walking for miles and miles on end, and that was through Cleveland Heights on Taylor Road, and Taylor Road runs into Fairmount, and Fairmount is Fairmount below Cedar Avenue. Or I'm sorry, below Lee Road. After Lee Road, it becomes Cedar instead of Fairmount.
Yeah,
So
I kind of have an idea. My sister lives in Ohio.
Yeah, I used to walk for miles and
So when you were younger. So
when
you
I
would
was
say-
younger, and even now, I still walk. It's just
lot,
it gets difficult.
Yeah. So if you have to give any advice to anybody who wants to live, I mean, at least to see in their 70s or 80, because nothing's going to happen to you now. I mean, I could tell that you'll probably hit your 80s.
I don't know. I'm having.
No, but you look good. You
Well-
sound good. You continue walking. So
I beat. I beat the COVID. I'm immunized, but I was diagnosed that.
and you beat COVID.
Yeah, I beat COVID.
So
I don't know. It's that kind of luck I got.
yeah, that's exactly what I say. Well, how old was your grandparents when they passed away?
My parents,
Your grandparents.
grandparents. I don't know. They died in when Hitler invaded Belarus.
Oh, so they're from
I'm
Germany.
Sorry. They're from Belarus, which is Russia.
Yeah.
And my grandpa Joseph was murdered. He was in.
Oh my God.
He goes back to the horseback, like the Tsar with the
Yeah.
blade and all. He was murdered over there, and my grandpa Joseph sent all his kids to Asia, which is Central Asia, which is Frunze under communism, and now it's Bishkek. And but my mom and my other aunts, older aunts, grew up in Frunze, which is Soviet Union, but it's really Central Asia, which is really Bishkek, which is really Kyrgyzstan.
So right now you have nobody into your life.
No, I'm not involved with anybody, and in a way, it's
Do you have a lot of friends? Do you see your
not
friends?
really. I stay busy. I used to have a lot of friends,
Right.
and
You stay busy doing what?
I read a lot, and I watch politics a lot.
Okay.
And I'm involved.
And that keeps you going, though.
Yeah, I like politics. I always like politics.
What kind of book you read?
Anything from electronics to, I just read, before they robbed me, I had a ONN monitor from Walmart, which is good, about the size of this
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
And I read in 4 hours. I read Tesla, about everything you ever wanted to know about Tesla cars. And
Cool. Because
Yeah.
you like electronics, right?
well, it was all about I forget the president of Tesla. I forget his name. The millionaire. Yeah, me too. I forgot his
Yeah.
name.
Because I'm
slips.
focusing on you.
Yeah,
So.
but in any event, he wrote a book all about himself, and it's offered online. I still have it on a phone,
Yeah.
and it's a long book, but
You like
because
biography. You like biography.
I love biography, but I can't see very well, and the monitor was serving.
Oh, so it puts up as a big screen.
Yeah, big screen makes
Yeah.
the letters about
Yeah,
3/4
yeah.
of an inch, and I can just breeze right through it.
Wow.
I wear these are readers; they're not glasses. They're
Right.
3.25 readers.
Yeah, but you can't get the magnifying glass and do it. No.
Yeah, I have one. They stole everything I had, and I had quite a few of them. But I just bought a little tiny one because I can't see very
So
well.
the Alaskan government give you a paycheck every month or whatever.
They're supposed to, but they just shafted me. I'll be out tomorrow on the street, because I'm supposed to get state check at the end of the month and SSI, Social Security.
Right.
But they've been pilfering my account, so grabbing my money. So, and when they grabbed my money at $350 as a deposit, I called the Wells Fargo Bank and spoke with the teller on 1-800 and asked them to witness it because later on you become a liar, so by government standards. So he witnessed it and he transferred $300 and I got a receipt to my savings.
Mm-hmm.
But the wicked people, the evil people that steal the money turned it around and said that I'm negative 355 or so. Excuse me, amount of deposit. So that's how it started out. The next one was another $124, now $400 negative dollars. And just now they added another $300, so I'm negative $700. Basically, they've been advertising, the criminal elements have been advertising stealing my Social Security and my pension, or the what they call senior pay in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
For a long time, for many years. I guess they achieved it with Wells Fargo being a dirty bank.
So
allowing
how are you
that.
going to continue living?
I hit the street tomorrow. I don't know. If I die, I die.
Why would you say that? What do you mean? Don't say if you die, you
I don't have any
die.
money to pay for the room, so I gotta hit the road. I don't have any place to live. They took my condominium, and I've been.
Can you go to a shelter?
Yeah, I've been at the shelter, Sullivan Arena, but I get threatened over here, over there. I know people think that I'm lying or imagining.
No.
This was a either African American or dark complected man, and this is the assault that occurred that damaged my hip. No one's lying, but they think I am. This was APD Officer Mulvaney, K. Mulvaney, that came to Sullivan Arena. If you can read it, it says
Yeah,
Sullivan
it's a
Arena.
little bit damaged. So
Yeah, it's worn out.
Yeah.
It's on the other side. He came to Sullivan Arena. He used his belly and his hip to push me over a bathroom downstairs, and that caused me to damage my hip.
Yeah,
so,
she's a homeless something.
homeless.
2020.
What they call it?
So you're gonna lose all your stuff if you go in the home, if you go on the streets.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. It's called transient. That's
Yeah.
what he meant by that word.
So how do you
transient.
get your food? What do you do?
I go to the store. I just went and bought some, and being my last day, I picked out, and you
So
know,
what you gonna do? Take this on the street? I don't get it.
what do you mean?
Like all the stuff you have here, you're gonna take it on the street?
Oh, this isn't mine. The microwave is not mine.
Yeah,
The
but I'm
TV
saying whatever little thing you have.
The coffee is not mine. The coffee machine, the few little things I got, yeah, I'll take them with me in a bag.
So
And,
how would you live? I mean, you would just live like that?
Yeah, that's what government is doing to me. I don't like this governor. I think he's dirty.
But where would you sleep? That kills me.
And you either sleep, you don't sleep actually until you feel
You drop your stuff.
oh yeah, until you feel relaxed. And the last time I fell asleep on a bus, the bus driver tried to beat me up, but they don't like homeless. They don't like, they're nasty bastards. I complained about it, but you know, it didn't
It's
do
not
me
going to
any-
get you anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So the government has got me lined up for housing, but they're not doing anything about it. The government is really dirty. I've been at Beans Cafe when it was Beans. This guy named Brian signed me up with Alaska Housing Finance. They refused, and through various counselors, including Access Alaska, I'm back on the list. But I've been on the list for a long time, and they just let it happen. They just let me go to the street and walk all day, or, you know, when it gets dark, just sit around until you can't go to sleep because they'll jump you. But you
Who
can,
would jump you? The homeless.
the people that want to score off a homeless, like these bags or whatever material that they
So how
want.
do you survive on the streets? That's
I did before. I lived on the street in March at Brother Francis Shelter front porch. It was a Samoan native lady that actually saved me. We huddled together on the front porch for warmth. I stayed like that for 1 week, and I only got to huddle one time because it was so bad. Even she couldn't handle it, and she's used to being
on the
half,
street.
yeah, she's half native and Samoan, don't ask me to explain it. They're Hawaiian or that kind of tropics, they're island, and they're supposed to be cold, but they never feel cold.
Yeah, some
So-
people like that.
Yeah, so I don't even know how to explain it, so I don't even bother.
Right.
And but we stayed together, and she disappeared over the time
Probably she died. Have you ever seen anybody died and
on the street. Yeah.